Hi, welcome back to the channel. So glad you could be here. Thanks for joining me. I'm Holly. Today we're reading Am I the Assholes from Reddit. Let's get into it. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that I could hire someone to cook and clean if she can't and she can go work instead? So my wife and I have been married for a year and we've been together for 3 years total. I'm 40, she's 36, and we have no kids. In her previous marriage, she was always a stay-at-home wife, and when we started dating, she said she enjoyed it and asked if I was fine with that. She said she was a good cook and always stayed busy, and I said I was fine with it if the house was clean and I was well fed. Then I'd be happy. Yeah, that's a good deal. You do the work, she does cleaning and cooking at home. As long as everyone's happy with the deal, it works out good. I've been a high earner for a while and have always been frugal. I've saved over 50% of my income since I was 20, and now I have a nice nest egg and a paid off house. Dang, good for you. Well, recently we traveled to Colombia and liked it so much that we decided that I have enough saved to quit my job and we could move there and rent my house out and live off the rental income and my portfolio. We've been living here for 2 months, and my wife has stopped cooking and cleaning like she used to. She said it's because the food is so cheap that what's the point of cooking? I told her that I preferred home cooked meals, and that if she wasn't upholding her end of the bargain and cooking and cleaning, that she'd need to get a job, and I could just hire a local to do it for $400 or whatever. Ooh. She's not gonna like this. She got really mad and started saying, how could she get a job in a low wage country? And I told her to try and get one remote, like I had had. And she got even more mad. I told her that we had a deal since the beginning, and if she didn't like it, she could either get a job to contribute financially, or she could just step up and start cooking and cleaning. She says it's not fair because I expect her to cook and clean while I just lounge around, but I explained to her that we are living on this rent money from my house that I paid off before we were married and my nest egg that I also had before we were married. Am I being unreasonable here? Am I the a-hole? Let's see what the comments say. I was going to say you're not the a-hole, but I read that you're retired. My opinion shifted. You had your role and you got to retire from it. She had her role and she's supposed to do it until she dies. Either go 50-50 on cleaning and cooking now that you're not working, or let her retire too. Treating her like an indentured servant makes you the a-hole. I don't understand a stay-at-home wife in the first place, but that appealed to you enough to agree to it. Doesn't mean she never gets to stop. Actually, I like this comment and I agree with this comment. Like, she may have not been your stay-at-home wife for the majority of her life, but she has been a stay-at-home wife. She has been cooking and cleaning her entire life. And now that you're retired, it makes sense to let her retire too. And if it's just you two living alone together, I'm sure that you can share the burden of cleaning and cooking when she's not. Okay, let's move on to another one. Am I the asshole for wanting to walk away from my marriage and the child that we were raising after finding out that the child is biologically my husband's? Interesting. This was posted 6 months ago. There's a lot to this, and it's newly revealed to me, so I'm still processing, and I'm sure I'll be all over the place. I'm so angry about this. My husband's sister adopted a child 4 years ago. She had talked before about being a single mom by choice, and when her friend had a child she didn't want to raise, she said it made sense to step in and offer to become the baby's mom. Everyone was supportive and welcomed the child into the family. 2.5 years ago, my husband's sister was diagnosed with MS. She unfortunately declined rapidly and asked us to take in her child, and we agreed. We had not yet had any children of our own at that point, which made it easier. We made sure she still spent time with her child, and she asked us that we continue raising the child, and I'm saying the child to keep anonymity, no matter how bad she gets if she dies. And we agreed. Oh, bless you both. My husband never acted weird around the child, never acted like he had some secret. He acted like an uncle willing to step in and raise his sister's child. Recently, sister confessed to me that my husband was the biological father. She said my husband and her best friend used to hook up occasionally, and he did it again right before we got married, and this child is the result of his infidelity. Oh my gosh. I was sick. She told me she couldn't keep lying to me because eventually it would come out and she wanted to minimize the damage. I confronted my husband and he denied it, so I asked him to do a DNA test. Good. He is the father, there's no doubt. DNA confirmed he is the biological father. He told me nothing happened since we were married and he loves me and he's sorry for what he did. Oh, he's sorry. He said it was a drunk night before our wedding and he would never do something like that again. Unless he gets drunk. Then he said he wanted us to be a family and offered to adopt his child and raise them as our own. He told me this doesn't have to end us. Dude, not only did you have a baby with someone else, you're having your wife raise this baby and pretending like it's not yours. This dude is crazy. I left the house and I've been staying with my sister since the DNA results. I'm disgusted and I don't want to sign up for this. I know that the baby is innocent, but now I can only see what my husband did, and I cannot imagine raising them and acting like their mom and keeping my husband in my life. My husband's sister has reached out to me apologizing multiple times, and she told the rest of the family the truth also. My husband's parents have tried to contact me to get me back to my husband. They have told me I have a family now and I can't leave, especially now that their daughter is unable to raise the baby again. I had to block them because their messages were blaming and shaming me more and more for not agreeing to marriage counseling and moving forward as a family. Gaslighting? Wow. I don't see a way back from this, but I have been in this child's life since birth and raised them for more than a year and a half. I just know I could never be a good mom to them knowing what I know. Am I the a-hole for wanting to divorce and walk away? I don't think you're the a-hole. It would be really challenging. You're going to go through so many emotions dealing with his infidelity, and really the child doesn't need to be around those emotions. I think it is better if you just walk away and let him have his kid, and he can try and heck, maybe he can work it out with the mom. They liked each other so much. Let's see what the comments say. I can't imagine how you feel right now. Just the utter betrayal and them all expecting you to be fine with it all is insane. Definitely agree. Not the a-hole. If it was the other way around, I doubt him and his family would be forgiving. Probably. Yeah, they'd probably be like, leave her. Okay, let's find another one. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with her after I saw her apartment? This was posted 10 months ago. I had been seeing this girl for a few months. We met through a friend, so I had known her a little longer, but she was gorgeous, and I was super into her. Last Saturday, she invited me over to her place, which I had never been to. She had mentioned her apartment was a mess, and I laughed because I thought she was being self-deprecating. But when we got to her place, holy shit, dude. Ooh, that bad? I want to start off by saying I know that people have their reasons for stuff like this, and I don't want to be disrespectful in any way. But the state of her apartment was genuinely shocking when I first went in. It was a pretty small place, and I'm not just talking about clutter. Literal piles of trash on the floor, sink full of dishes, overflowing onto the counter, stains on the couch and the carpet. Ew. Week-old food on the table, and just piles and piles of stuff everywhere. Not to mention the overpowering smell of mold and mildew. Oh, that I could literally taste in my mouth. Oh, I can taste it just reading it. Gross. She told me to sit down and stuff like it was completely normal, and I tried not to act weird, but I'm sure she noticed. I stayed for a bit and we watched a movie on the couch, but I left before it got too late. Bro was like, I'm not staying the night. The next day I called her and I told her I don't think things are going to be compatible between us. And she got mad at me for leading her on and breaking up with her for no reason. I didn't mention the apartment, but I don't know, maybe I should have. Literally nothing about her appearance or personality would lead me to expect this, so it was sort of unbelievable to see the state she was living in. I feel bad for her, and I'm worried I might have acted too quickly. This person says, not the a-hole, I do think you should have mentioned the apartment. People who don't know what the problem is cannot take any corrective action. Tell her and move on. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.